Okay, abuzia makwaba sonko so edeba Ghana Politics Avenue so abuzia yembonra ye nsemu. Chief Justice Paul Baffoe wateki the first action on petition to remove OSP Kisi Ejabin. Abuzia na the first action within 14 days Obaba sets up a commission necessary yede investigate OSP Kisi Ejabin and many and asam kitokra. Yidikan eba be report say within 30 days, Chief Justice Paul Baffoe ebe set up and as obe establish prima facie case against OSP and we know within 14 days no oba be set up commission na yede I investigate OSP Kisi Ejabin with immediate effect. Mommy yanko na yanko kuti and smart so unsubscribe here, subscribe, like and share my afro so enter into me and kebi Ghana Politics Avenue. So and don't forget to click on the notification bell so never any updates be ever dropping once it to me
and forwarding same to the Chief Justice as required by law. Now, TV3 sources indicate that 7 of these petitions were filed by private citizens calling for the removal of the Electoral Commission chairperson and her 2 deputies, 7 of them. And then the remaining 3 petitions target the Special Prosecutor, Kisi Ejabin, alleging various forms of misconduct by the leaders of the 2 institutions. But what's the procedure for the removal of these persons we're talking about? You remember Hassan Tampoli had a couple of weeks ago indicated that per his information, 15 petitions had been sent to the presidency for the removal of Kisi Ejabin, the Special Prosecutor. Well, what we have information this morning from the presidency earlier this morning is that there were 3 that have been received and in fact forwarded to the Chief Justice, 7 against the EC chairperson and her deputies. That makes up the 10 petitions that we're talking about. But this is what we do know, the position of the law and the removal of the Special Prosecutor. This is captured in specifically the Office of Special Prosecutor Act 2017, Act 959. The Special Prosecutor shall not be removed from office except 1A, stated misbehavior or incompetence. And if you followed the process of the removal of the Chief Justice or the former Chief Justice, this particular one in here, this condition for the removal of the OSP is also one you would find in Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution, stated misbehavior or incompetence, incapacity to perform the functions of the office by reason of infirmity of body or mind, willful violation of the official oath or oath of secrecy. D, conduct which brings or is likely to bring the office of Special Prosecutor into disrepute, ridicule or contempt, or is prejudicial or inimical to the economy or security of the state. I need to follow this closely. And then a person who seeks to remove the Special Prosecutor from office shall submit a petition to the President. So that this one has been done as far as what we know and has actually been officially and publicly stated by the presidency is concerned. And the Aburasibu Kwamankesi, Member of Parliament, the Minister in charge of Government Communications, Phyllis Kwachufu, so did confirm this, these petitions that we're talking about. So indeed, this first requirement has been fulfilled. They submitted the petitions to the President. Where the President receives a petition for the removal of the Special Prosecutor, the President shall, within 7 days, refer the petitions to the Chief Justice, who shall, within 30 days, determine whether there's a prima facie case. So look at the timelines carefully. Where the President receives a petition for the removal of the Special Prosecutor, the president shall, within 7 days, refer the petition to the Chief Justice. And we don't have any clear information as to when the president received the petitions, but to the extent that it's been forwarded to the Chief Justice means that the president has fulfilled this first requirement of the timeline. We also don't have an idea as to when exactly the petitions were forwarded to the Chief Justice so as to be able to count the 30 days. But we do know that the petitions have been forwarded to the Chief Justice, who shall, within 30 days, determine whether there is a prima facie case. And this is very different from the process for the removal of the Chief Justice. Now, where the Chief Justice determines that there is a prima facie case, the Chief Justice shall, within 14 days, set up a committee consisting of A, a chairperson who is a justice of the Supreme Court, B, a lawyer of at least 15 years standing at the bar, and C, one other person with expertise in investigation. And in fact, a lawyer who is 15 years at the bar qualifies to be appointed as a Supreme Court justice. 5, the committee shall, within 90 days, investigate the matter and make its recommendation to the president through the Chief Justice. The president shall act in accordance with the recommendations of the committee. Now, that last part is consistent with what we saw also in the removal process of the Chief Justice. The president shall just act in accordance with the recommendations of the committee. That is what the president is expected to do, and he doesn't have an opinion whether or not he agrees with them. Okay? Now, we have the Chief Justice, in fact, the Office of Special Prosecutor earlier today, they've been making a strong case for themselves in terms of the achievements that they have made. That is the OSP, that's Kessie Jabin, while he's been in office over the period. Now, it's one thing that we've seen play out in a very, very interesting way, especially because just when this calls for the removal of the OSP heightened, and we saw Martin Pebu, private legal practitioner, has been forceful in that regard. We've heard the likes of Manasseh Azura when they also asked questions of the special prosecutor right from the weekend on Key Point and how things have been flowing from then till now. The special prosecutor has put out his office, as a matter of fact, has put out something in terms of, they say, their achievement over the period. They're making a case for themselves. They say the OSP has reached 9.4 million people through prevention, focus work, 9.4 million. That's huge. If you look at our population as a country, you're talking about, about 30%, almost. Now, Youth Against Corruption, and they talk about the impact, they've outlined it there. They say direct recoveries. They say the OSP, per their records, they say they've recovered over 6.5 million Ghana cedis, and then $2 million. And they state the sources for the recoveries: 106,319 from payroll audit restitution. That's like clearing ghost names, okay? So, but then beyond this, the questions asked as to what exactly happened to those ghosts, the people who were receiving money in the names of these ghosts. Any prosecutions? That's the question that was asked. Now, 206,000 from plea bargains, 6.9 million Ghana cedis from petroleum product diversion investigation, $2 million recovered for MIIF, as a Minerals Income and Investment Fund, from the gold trading program, $2 million. So this recoveries, just that $2 million is from MIIF alone. Now, asset seizures, talk about over 102 million Ghana cedis worth of assets seized pending confiscation proceedings. Many more assets seized are yet to be valued by STC, from luxury cars to houses to billion vans. And then they talk about the national and regional engagement. They said the OSP educated 448 professionals and all those others. Now, that as to whether this is weighty and matter enough to make a case for them is another issue altogether that we'll get into shortly. But we'll take our eyes off the ball a bit on this. We'll go matters on education quickly, and that's going to come up next, because a lot of reactions have come to this matter relating to the release of the 2025 WASSCE results. That's coming up next, which continues to spark nationwide reaction from different cortices. The Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT. Now, let's go back briefly to this petitions that have been forwarded to the Chief Justice by the President for the removal of the OSP and then also the heads of the Electoral Commission, as has been outlined by law. We went through it earlier. Martin Pebo is a private legal practitioner. He's joining us on Zoom right now for a quick conversation on this. Counsel, good evening. Thank you for joining us. Hello, lawyer, can you hear us? Hello?
Hello?
Yes. Just quick one. Lawyer Martin Pebo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Mr.
Perfect. Perfect. Now, you're not alone, but one of the persons who have been asking for the head of the special prosecutor, because of, now it's public knowledge, the reasons why you believe that he should go. But then earlier today, they put out what they have achieved over the period. I mean, outlining a number of things, including some $2 million they've stopped in the MIF, that's the Minerals Income and Investment Fund, and others. It doesn't convince you in any way that they are on track doing a good job?
At all. It doesn't convince me that Kissie Jabin is doing any good job, okay, with the OSP. Now, what they have tabulated in the first place, let's point out that it's a diversionary tactic. Yeah, that's diversionary tactic. They know that today the major news has been that 3 petitions have been presented to the president for the removal of Kissie Jabin, which petitions the president has forwarded to the Chief Justice Baffoe. And I have also been mentioning that I'll be presenting my petition. So it's been a very bad day for them. So it's a way to divert our attention. That's caused them to publish this achievement. Just last week, they published their end of year report, right? Where they even stated they had to eat humble pie, okay? In respect of the $2.7 billion Sammy Daku had claimed that the office had saved us in respect of the SML matter. But Manasseh fact-checked them, and then now they had to backtrack in the report that they did. So the whole thing is that it's been a very bad couple of weeks for Kissie Jabin and Sammy Daku. So they are doing everything within their power to try to change the narrative.
Okay. Well, Counsel, appreciate you for this. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see how the coming days will look like on this and the path that these petitions will take. Martin Pebo is a private legal practitioner. We're going to go for this quick break. What Angel Kabano had to say to Daniel Opoku earlier today.
The system we are running, is it beneficial to our children? Is it aiding proper teaching and learning? Are we producing students who understand what they have studied to become worthwhile citizens of our society? Education should be reviewed regularly. Education is like life. You review life so as to enhance your wherewithal for the betterment of tomorrow. Please, politicians should hands off education and allow professionals to run education in this country. The sole financiers of education is the taxpayer. The politicians are just the conduit through which the money passes.
That's Angel Carbono there. As I indicated, we just put a brief freeze on this OSP and EC petitions matter. We'll come back to it in a bit. But this is it. Here's what we do know in terms of the WASSCE 2025 results that have stoked a lot of conversation. 461,736 candidates sat for this. And in terms of the results, specific English language, we tracked it right from 2022 till now. You see, from 2022 was just about 60% in terms of the pass rate. And in fact, there are some the stakeholders in the education sector who say, look, to understand the bigger picture of this situation, don't look at the pass rate alone. So we're going to drill that, but stay with me closely. There is 73.1 in 2023, and then reduced a bit to 69.5. That's for English pass rate. The emphasis is on the pass rate. Then integrated science, pass rate, at least over the last 4 years, this year was the lowest. And then mathematics, the lowest. In fact, it's the mathematics that has stoked a lot of conversation. And there's worrying, staggering numbers of students who failed mathematics. And a number of the papers, we understand, are also being reviewed by the West African Examination Council. And so if you look at the individual subjects, 2025, in terms of percentage, represents the lowest pass rate from maths, English, the core subjects as well. Now, Thomas Tanko Musa is the General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, and then also John Kapi, who speaks for the West African Examination Council, WAEC, is joining us right now for a quick conversation on this. Mr. Kapi, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us. And Mr. Tanko, if you could just hold on a bit for me. Mr. Kapi, first off, with what we have seen now and what the GES has also put out, GES says this is a reflection of the students, exactly what they put in. Why? Because there was a reduction in the malpractice, which over the years they say may have also contributed to the pass rate. Mr. Kapi.
Well, if you look at the results that we've brought out or we've published so far, clearly that for us is a reflection of the children's performance, because we are the ones who deal with the scripts directly. We are the ones who collect the marks, and then we are the ones who also award the grades. So I would say, yes, that is a reflection of the candidate's performance.
I see. I talk about the fact of the candidate's performance. Then this is it. There's this other one as well that they reference, that something to do with what the former education minister, Dr. Yawase Duchum, said in his engagement with some media houses. They say that the controller, this is a statement from the Ghana Education Service, the Controller and Accountants General Department has publicly clarified reasons for non-payment of November allowances. They urge the public to disregard what Dr. Yawase Duchum said regarding the 2025 WASSCE results and treat them as an attempt to shift focus from his shortcomings in managing the examination process. This is the GES statement. They also say that they view the 2025 WASSCE results as a true reflection of academic performance of the candidate. So this is a true reflection of it. Because prior to the exams, Mr. Kapi, the Ministry of Education and the GES issued a statement or a firm directive that any teacher or official found aiding or abetting the malpractice during the exams would face strong sanctions. And this was vigorously or rigorously enforced. Is this reflective of your position as well?
Well, I would say that for this year, we did a few things before the examination. First of all, we did a stakeholder engagement across the country where we tried to sensitize people against the menace of examination malpractices. Besides that, we also increased our presence across the country. We had an increased number of examination monitors. We also had an increased number of our own staff who were out there. I would want to say that there were also a few staff of the Ghana Education Service, including the Director General himself, who also went out there to monitor. Then we had whistleblowers, very, very positive step whistleblowers who drew our attention to things happening in some of the areas. And indeed, when we sent our personnel, we realized that whatever they were reporting was true. So I would say that we deployed a lot of people. But I think that at a press meeting that I attended, the minister was emphatic about the fact that they would deal decisively with any teacher who misconducts himself in the course of the examination. So, well, I believe that with these words and the sensitization that we also did, we were able to have people realize that there was a need for them to allow the children to do independent work.
I see. But this portion of the GES statement, and Mr. Kapi, I'm going to read out to you, and also for the benefit of those listening to us.
Okay, I was going to answer my also our political highway. So a year OSP kisi ejaben na. It is within 14 days. Chief Justice Paul Baffoe about drop a commission that say or more I investigated. But I must say much a penny could see and some way at the aha a Ghana politics avenue. So, Madam.